Hey guys, welcome back to another week of Ticket Tuesday. I'm your host, Ronan HD. So yeah, this is going to be a great time. There's a lot more people in the theater than I expected, but this film was actually really enjoyable, and it was really well written, shot. I thought the music was great. I really liked the music. I just like music in horror films. I guess that's just like a consistency that I have. A good horror film usually is accompanied by a good soundtrack, but I'll tell you why I liked the movie and the soundtrack back at the house. Hey guys, welcome back to Ticket Tuesday. I'm your host, Ronan HD, and we are going down the escalator because we just saw The Black Phone.
Would you like to see a magic trick?
Yeah.
Don't hang up.
It doesn't work. Hang it up. Ooh, the creepiest damn thing.
Hello? Is this Ronin Time HD? Probably. Ticket Tuesday, motherfuckers! And today, this week, whatever, we watched The Black Phone. Starring Ethan Hawke in this maybe psychological-ish horror film. And I thought it was really enjoyable, and I thought it was really well written, acted, and I'll get into those. And I think I just think the writing was really solid, because like I was really invested throughout the whole film. Like you knew this kid was gonna escape the basement that Ethan Hawke put him in. Yeah, the movie is basically about, it takes place in the late 70s. And these kids are getting kidnapped. They're being grabbed by the Ethan Hawke, aka the Grabber in this film. He's like a kidnapper / like murderer. He kills kids. And the main character of this movie, Finney, he gets kidnapped by the Grabber. And the whole movie is about him escaping the basement that he locked him in and reuniting with his sister, and I think the film is really strong in that, like, getting you invested. I think it's also pretty nerve-wracking at points. Like, he's gonna escape. Like, the film is just like that kind of movie where it's not gonna be the film where he's gonna, like, it's a surprise he's gonna, like, die at the end or whatever. It's not that kind of movie. That's not gonna happen. And it doesn't. He gets away, and he escapes Ethan Hawke's clutches. But in the meantime, until he escapes, before that, like, there's these ghost kids that were killed by Ethan Hawke before him, and they were all, like, missing kids, and they call him on the phone. And and they all give him advice on how to escape, and none of it works until the ending, where he combines all those plans and ways to escape to make one big plan so that he does escape, and he does. And there's not a lot of kills in this movie, at least ones that you see, and there's only 2, and they're at the end of the movie. And honestly, if you're thinking about seeing this movie, I'm not gonna spoil the kills because they're great. I don't know if it was CGI or special effects. I hope it was special effects, especially the first kill at the end. I really hope that it was special effects, because if it was CGI, then it would be really lame. And it seems like it would be easy to do a special effect. I'm just gonna say it. By the way, spoiler alert, if you don't want to spoil the end of the movie, then click off. But near the movie, Ethan Hawke kills his brother Max with an axe, and he sticks it in his head, and like the axe is sticking out of his head, and he just goes, and he like collapses. He takes a few steps forward with an axe lodged into his brain, and then he falls down dead. And there's like blood gushing everywhere, and it's great. I hope that was special effects and not CGI, because if it was CGI, it would be a lot more lame, and it would probably be more fun if it was special effects, to be honest. But I don't know. It looked fun either way. And Ethan Hawke's death was great because, like, he was, like, chasing Finney down, like a hallway, and he tripped him up, and he got him in a hole, and he broke his leg, and then he, like, choked him out and snapped his neck with the cord of the phone, and it was great. I think the movie, just, like, that ending where Ethan Hawke's neck gets snapped with the phone felt really satisfying, and, like, it was a really good conclusion to the movie. Like, you felt good at the end, and not a lot of horror movies nowadays do that. They always, like, I feel like, I kind of like when a horror movie has, like, a doom and gloom ending, but it feels like every horror movie does that nowadays. Like, I feel like it's nice and refreshing to see a horror movie have, like, a victorious ending where they take down the villain and they reunite with their family, you know? I think that's an ending they used to do in, like, the 80s and 90s, but they don't do that much anymore, and they just kind of want you to be sad at the ending of a horror movie, which I'm fine with to an extent, because, you know, I guess, like, a lesson that, well, not everything ends well, but we've heard that so many times now. But anyway, back on track. I also think the characters were well written. It was actually, there were a lot of funny moments in the movie, which I really enjoyed. There was a little girl, I don't remember her name, but she was a great actress, and she was actually really funny. One of the lines that I remember her saying is, "Jesus, what the fuck?" Or like, "What the fuck, Jesus?" It's like, you keep giving me these clues in my dreams that mean nothing. Like, what's up with you, Jesus? And it's really funny. I just really enjoyed the film, you know? I feel like the film is like a nice breath of fresh air for horror films, because it's really unique, because it's like, the plot doesn't seem copied from anything that I know of, and it seems original. Like, there's no, as I said, there's not many on-screen deaths in this movie. The deaths are off-screen, and you just kind of see the aftermath of it with their ghosts, the kids' ghosts. Yeah, most of the movie was about Finney trying to escape the basement. And I think there are movies like that where it's like a character trying to get out of something or escape, but I usually like movies like that, because then you have like a set goal that the film's main character is trying to get to, and like you understand why they're trying to get to it, you know? And I just kind of like films. This plot wasn't very complicated, you know, it's just escape the basement. But, you know, I like beauty and simplicity, as they say. You know, I think this film's plot is really simple, but that's, I think, one of its strong suits. You know, I don't think this film needed a really complicated, like, really long, complicated plot. I think this film was great for its simple premise and plot. Honestly, the jump scares, they didn't really, I think the jump scares, like, they scared everybody in the crowd, but not me. I was the only one just, like, whenever, like, I got jump scared, I was just, like, I was just staring at the movie, I'm like, really? Like, the first one, actually, the only one that scared the crowd was the first one, the rest of them didn't. Because, like, jump scares aren't very scary, you know, and they showed them all in the trailer anyway, you know? And it's like, it's just a loud noise. Without the loud noise, I would actually think I would be more scary and more, like, ominous and eerie. Because if it was, like, just slowly went up to a kid's corpse and there was no sound or, like, a tiny little subtle audio cue, that's a little eerie, you know? That's a little disturbing. But if it's just a boom, if it's a loud bang, then, well, it's just a cheap shock, you know? I'd prefer if there was no jumps, like, they weren't really jump scares either. They were just, like, loud noises. I don't think this film needed a jump scare. I think they could have done better. I think there was actually one good scary scene that was pretty spooky, and that the kid Finney, he was sleeping in the bed in the basement, and you hear like a dripping noise, and you're like, Finney and you're thinking, what's that dripping noise? And he like turns on the flashlight and he starts looking around, and you see blood on the floor, and then it zooms up to a kid like Exorcist spider walking on the ground, like spider flying up in the like sky of the basement, like the levitating mid-air, like like levitating, and he points at the phone, and like that's spooky, you know. There was no like jump scare noise that I remember, but that's like, I think that's good build up. Like, to have a spooky moment, you gotta have build up, you know. And honestly, I don't like jump scares. I don't hate them, but I I don't think this film really needed any jump scares, to be honest. I think the film was actually pretty good at being scary with the concept of, like, this guy kidnapping and murdering kids. I think that's already, like, a scary concept as it is, you know? So I don't think jump scares was needed, and they weren't that scary, especially for me. I've seen a lot of horror movies, and jump scares just don't affect me anymore, you know, because I've seen them again and again and again. Obviously, for people that don't go to the movies very much, it's going to affect them. But for the average moviegoer, you gotta make something actually scary to make it affect them. Because if it's something like horrifying or something disgusting or something like scarring, like something that sticks with you after you watch the film. You know, I believe that something scary in a movie should stick with you after you walk out of the theater and you're like, that was so scary. And maybe like while you're going to bed, you think about it. Or when you're like talking about the movie, like this scary moment really stood out, like it's gonna stick with you. You know, it's gonna haunt you. And like a jump scare doesn't do that because it's cheap. Like you're not gonna, you might talk about it, it's like, well, that jump scare was fucking stupid. I can't believe I jumped at that. Right? You're not gonna be scared by a jump scare. I mean, you're like, maybe like for a short moment you're gonna be scared. They're not scary, they're startling. That's why I think body horror is the most terrifying kind of horror to me alongside psychological horror, because it's not like a cheap jump scare. You can do that with body horror, or especially psychological. They get in your head, they fuck with you, you know? Psychological and body horror do that in strides, and that's why I love those two horror genres, because they actually scare the shit out of me. You know what I mean? Body horror, I've said this before, like it's like that could happen to me. That's what I imagine when I watch a body horror movie. Like, this could be happening to me. Like, my fingernails could be falling off. I could be turning into a giant fucking fly, you know? I could be possessed by a random person, you know? Like, you know, people could take over my body and do what the fuck they want with in my life. Like, that could happen. That can happen in my mind. Like, and psychological, it's like, it literally gets in your head, like, it fucks with your brain, you know? And this movie also gets in your head. This movie could happen to you, too. You know, like, it could happen to me. You know, this movie has a scary concept in which I could get kidnapped by a random crazy guy who's kidnapping kids and killing them, you know? Like, that's not very, like, hard to believe, you know? Is, like, some dude kidnapping people and killing them. Like, that's scary. Actually, I think the music was really good. I really liked it. And at the beginning of the movie, the music was the music was very, like, horror, like, oriented. It was very, like scary and ominous and eerie. But as the film went on and, like, his plans started to formulate and he started to communicate with the ghosts, like, it got more of, like, a electronic. So I liked the, like, 70s synth of the sound near the second half of the movie. The synth wasn't really there at the beginning, but it was near the end. And actually, I really liked the soundtrack. I don't know. I just liked it. And whenever I watch a movie, I always focus on the soundtrack as well. When I'm watching it, I try to juggle the scene with the soundtrack. If the soundtrack... two things. Does the soundtrack fit with the movie? And does the soundtrack sound good? And I think it did both of these things. I think when moments are scary, or supposed to be scary, the soundtrack is, like, eerie and ominous and, you know, spooky music. You know how it sounds. It's scary music. But when when he's doing something, when he's formulating a plan, when he's practicing, it's more like, not uplifting, but it's more like kind of intense, you know. What's a word to describe it? I don't know, it's just more, like, not as scary. I don't know how to describe it. Like, it's synthy, I guess. It's got synth, and it's like, there was actually a bit of a training montage. There was a training montage.
This is an 80s action movie?
Yeah. There was a montage of him setting up his plan to take down the evil Ethan Hawke kidnapper guy, the grabber. Like Arnold in The Predator when he was setting up the traps to take down Predator. Yeah. Except it's Ethan Hawke in a weird demon mask. And it worked. And it was, I really liked it, honestly. I think the film was just really strong. If you're a horror fan, like a film fan, whatever, I think you would enjoy this movie. I recommend you go out and watch this movie. And, yeah, I think I've, said my piece. Yeah, I think I'm gonna rate this film think I'll give it like a 8 out of 10. I'll give this film an 8 out of 10. So, yeah. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope you like it. Subscribe, turn on those notifications, comment on how much you liked it, share with your friends. But you guys, you know how these go. You know that I always say that, but what I really meant to say was if you guys hated this video, unsubscribe, dislike, and tell me how much you hate me in the comments. Signing off. Well, that. Would you like to see a magic trick? This is gonna be our last call.